Hi guys, what's up? Hope you're doing well. So today's topic is basically how to write winning SOP for FMS. Now, you might be a little surprised at why am I saying winning SOP. In this session, by the way, I'm going to talk about the mistakes that a lot of people do as far as writing their SOP is concerned and what things that you should be taken care of. And I'm going to also give you a couple of bullet points to kind of incorporate them in your actual SOP. I understand I'm a little late. Maybe today is the last day to fill up the FMS the entire form, but trust me, if you kind of put these points in your SOP, you still have a couple of hours to go. Trust me, it's going to help you out. So my today's topic is basically to kind of enlighten you that how you should be writing your SOP as far as FMS B school is concerned. So guys, let's get started now. Couple of things that before we move ahead we need to understand is that how do you guys write SOP as far as your knowledge or your time is concerned, right? Alright guys, so first of all we need to understand how we have been writing these SOPs across. So let's get started with the SOP writing for FMS. So okay, SOP. Now, first of all, mission statement or maybe vision statement of FMS. Okay, now most of the time people do write this, like students, they kind of interested to kind of put this mission statement and vision statement of FMS into their SOPs, and then they try to connect or they try to move around this mission and vision statement of FMS. Trust me, this is bullshit, right? This is not going to work. So big no for these things, because here, let's be very honest about it, right? You don't really care a damn about mission statement and vision statement of FMS. It's too high thing for you guys, right? You don't even have to kind of think about it, because trust me, your course is only going to be for 2 years, okay? You're not going to be there for 20 odd years. So you don't really have to worry about mission statement and vision statement of FMS. Now let's be honest about it. What you worry about it is your education, is your package, your placement profile. That's it. You are done and dusted, right? In those 2 years. And people, the panelists who are the alumnus and the the biggest, the faculties out there, they also understand that you really get a damn about this mission and vision statement. So this is kind of a cliche. This is the old methodology to kind of come up with the SOPs, and I don't think this is the right way to kind of go ahead with your SOP. That's number one. Number two, when we talk about as far as your statement of purpose is concerned, people talk a lot about I have done this, I have done that, I'm academically so bloody strong, I'm a topper, I'm a gold medalist, I've done this and that and that. And there is too much of I, right? So guys need to understand over a period of time, the B school culture, the B school pedagogy, the B school, the infrastructure, the B school, I wouldn't say infrastructure, but the landscape of your entire B school admission has changed over a period of time. So if you're writing the same shitty thing, if you're writing the same old stories out here, it's not going to work out. So the old stories will not be helping you. You can speak to other mentors in the market, they'll be telling you the same shit, but this kind of shit everybody's going to write, right? Every person out there, right? Every person out there is writing the same stuff, but this is not the way to write SOPs, because when you talk about a winning SOP, you got to give them something which people are not actually talking about. You got to be extraordinary, right? Now, when I write my SOPs, right, what I think about it, I think from a panelist perspective. So I know the panelists out there, right? Day in, day out, they be like going across 1,000 SOPs, and they know the same stuff everybody's going to write. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to be here a little bit innovative. Okay, I'm going to bring something to the table which help them to kind of spend some time on my SOP, because always remember, SOP is nothing but a mirror image of yours, right? So college hasn't seen you, they don't know much about you, but just by reading your SOP, they can visualize you, they can imagine you, what kind of a person you are, right? And that's the reason, guys, this SOP writing matters a lot for you to get through that particular B school. Okay, now let's try and understand how you should be actually going ahead with this SOP writing. Okay, so now according to me, if I were to write these SOPs, right, what I'm going to put across is I'm going to make mention of a couple of things. So it has to have an emotional touch up. Okay guys, I am literally going to write this thing, so you got to be stay with me, just bear with me. So you need to have emotional touch up, then you need to talk yourself, you as a person, okay, you need to tell them you as a person how good you are. Now when I say I, don't talk about academics and all that stuff, they already know much about you. So academics and all that can come into picture. Then why do you want to do MBA? Then there should be a mention about why FMS. Now there is another question which has why FMS. There is a different column altogether. But here you're not going to talk about college predominantly, that I want to get into FMS because of these things and those things, right? You'll not be talking about it. You'll be talking in the context of a general thing, that I would love to be part of a B school which has these things. I would love to be part of a B school. I would love to be an alumnus of a B school, which, so you're going to talk basically in a WH type format. Okay, you will not be specifically making a mention of FMS. Okay, and then comes your career goals. So again, career goals will be there again is a question on career goals, but here you'll be writing a little bit different. So career goals, what I mean to say is that you will not be writing here any kind of a designation. You'll not be talking about any kind of a role or any kind of a profile. You will not be talking about a company. So these things are not to be included when you write about your career goals as a part of your SOP. So big no for all these things, right? This will be included in your career goal as a separate bracket or as a separate point in FMS form. Okay, so your SOP or your statement of purpose should include all these things, and these are like pretty important. So it should have an emotional touch-up. It should talk about you as a person, your principles, your values, what you believe a lot in, and how have you been, as far as your study or as far as your academic journey is concerned, like from your childhood. If you want to talk, you can talk about from your college also. Anyway, then why do you want to do an MBA? And why do you want to do an MBA from FMS? Career goals is nothing but basically where do you see yourself 5 or 10 years down the line. This is what it should include on a broader level. Okay, so now I will not be actually getting into the micro level. I've already done this session in Pune, so we kind of went in a little bit of nitty-gritty of it. So I'm only going to write a couple of examples. I'm going to give you a guideline as far as the FMS SOP is concerned. So as I said, that if your SOP should be such that these people should visualize you, they should kind of imagine what kind of a person you are, because it's a mirror image. Now what about how do you kind of take this SOP? Now a lot of people, I said, right, you mostly talk about yourself, like, so there is a I factor, but trust me, this is not what you're going to write. Now always remember, it's all about how you form a synergy between you. Okay, so here is you and here is your college, which is FMS. So you have to prove them the synergy. Now it's not a correct, or this is not an appropriate analogy, but trust me, don't mind my example, but I think this will clear a lot about yourself. So say there is a guy, okay, so there is this guy, it's a pretty good guy out here, and say he wants to date a girl. Okay, so this guy out here, he want to date a girl, right? Now when he goes on a date, okay, and when he talks a lot about himself, okay, I have done this and I have done that, I know these things, I know that thing, right? So what's happening is this guy is kind of vociferous about himself, right? So that's not going to help out. That's not going to help out, right? So what you have to do is basically, whenever you write your SOP, let's take it as your dating stuff, that you're on a date with somebody and that person means a lot to you. Again, I am kind of giving a disclaimer. Do not take this seriously. It's not a correct analogy, but I'm just trying to make my point clear cut out here. So say you are on a date, right? You're meeting this person like who matters a lot to you. Now, if you're only going to talk about yourself as an I factor, trust me, nothing is going to work out between you and that person. So what you have to do is you have to kind of talk about yourself, okay? You also need to make a mention about a person who is sitting on the other side of the table, how that person matters to you, okay? That's the other point, how that person matters to you, okay? How that person means a lot to you, okay? How that person can benefit or help you to kind of grow the ladder up in your life. And eventually, how you and that person together form an incredible synergy which will help both of you. This is what exactly misses when you write your SOPs, because I don't see students writing SOPs in this format. Now, whenever I had gone through the SOPs, I see people talking a lot about their achievements. People being a lot vociferous about their achievements, their background, their parents, the way they, have been, built up, like whatever, like, but I don't see a statement of purpose making a mention of these three things, that, me as a person, how I can help the college, how college can help me, and how can we find a fabulous, a fantastic synergy which can help both of us to grow. Because ultimately, though it's SP Jain, or though it's FMS, or though it's IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, or maybe Harvard or Wharton for that matter, but trust me, The way you need that college to have that college tag on your resume, in the same way, guys, that college also needs you, because a college grows as the alumni of that college grows. The potential, the reputation of that college grows up if the potential and reputation of its alumni grows up eventually. So guys, it's a give and take. It's a very good trade-off, but it's a beautiful trade-off. That's what you guys need to understand, and this is what has been missing in your SOP. So if you're writing SOP which doesn't have this kind of thing, please don't mind, but it's not gonna kind of give an extreme impact on the panelist. Okay, so whenever you talk about these things, you guys need to kind of inculcate all these things. Now let's take an example. So other mistake. Okay, before I move ahead, let's talk about other mistake. What other mistakes people do? They talk about faculty, they talk about alumni, people talk about packages, people talk about dream companies, those come on campuses, people talk about college infra and all that stuff. Okay? Now these things, all these things doesn't really matter. No, it does not matter. You want to get into a B school or you want to get into FMS just because the faculty is good. Okay, what you think? The faculty from other colleges, aren't they good? Faculties of SP Jains, ABCs, Lucknow, IITs, aren't they good? Okay, tell me which is the B school which does not have good faculties. The top of the top B school and the lowest of the low B school. Every B school has good combination of faculties, guys. Trust me, that's number one. Okay, alumni. You want to get into B school because the alumni are good. I can counterattack that saying that, okay, alumni have done this incredible job on their own. They work with the Reliance, they are the CXOs, they are like CFOs, and the venture capitalists, they are the greatest entrepreneurs of the year. But guys, they have done this on their own, like, because it's a 30-40 years journey. They were here in FMS only for 2 years. So how does it matter? Okay. Packages, big no. If you tell them about packages, they're going to kick you out for sure. Dream companies, okay, you guys are not aware about, there are two types of companies that come on the campus and nobody will tell you this. Number one is the regular recruiter. And number two is called as guest recruiter. There are other videos that I've made and I made a mention about it. So if your company is not a regular recruiter, then it's going to be a problem for you. You have no idea because you cannot predict the future and the market. What if there is a recession, or what if the economy is not doing good and your company does not turn up on the campus for the placement? Then how do you kind of back up this argument of yours where you say that you are getting into B school, you want to get into FMS because of the dream companies. And then the last but not the least, which is infrastructure. A lot of people talk about infrastructure, but what do you mean by infrastructure? See, there are a lot of colleges, they look like 5-star as far as their infra is concerned, but you know that those colleges are incapable of even competing with the top colleges in India. Forget about the international competition, right? I don't want to name those colleges. You guys know what colleges I'm talking about. Infrastructure doesn't really matter. But again, let me understand what do you mean by infrastructure. People fail to understand when I say infrastructure, it's not about those buildings. It's not about those beautiful, glasses out there. It's not about those beautiful benches. It's not about the ACs and all that stuff. What do you mean by infra? Infra means the intellectual property of the college, the library, the kind of research papers, the magazines. There are a lot of B schools in India that do not have an access to Wall Street journals, guys, right? So guys, let's not get into this. So this is what people do, right? And this is what deteriorate the entire quality of your SOP in all. So if you're writing these things in 2018, trust me, I don't think you're a smart ass. Now, how do you turn this around? So guys, I'm not really going to write out this stuff out here because I think writing will consume a lot of time. I just want to talk up to you guys these things. Okay, so how do you say that? Okay, how do you say that for FMS? So you can say that, okay, FMS got established in the year 1954. Okay, it's a 60 years old college. Okay, it's a 60-year-old college. It has a great pedagogy. Okay, it's been recognized by the industry. So always remember, whenever you talk about colleges, people connect colleges why they want, but you need to talk about colleges from a perspective of corporate world. Okay, so as far as your faculties are concerned, as far as the alumni are concerned, why don't you make a note why don't you make a point when you say that I want to be the part of this growth story wherein FMS over a period of 60 years has been successfully producing the greatest, the best talents and the alumni pool in the country who are leading the Fortune 500 companies in the world. And I would see myself to be a part of that pool in the future. However, I would love to be mentored by those faculties who mentored those alumni who are now leading the biggest corporates in the world. So guys, you need to talk about alumni and the faculty in this context. You need to make sure that you talk about faculties also, because all those alumni are actually mentored by these faculties over a period of 2 years. The kind of knowledge that they've got from these faculties, the kind of intellectual transformation that has happened between those faculties and the alumni pool, right? You got to make a mention about it. So rather than saying that good faculty, good alumni, say that I want to be a part of this growth story, wherein I see myself leading the companies in future, want to be a part of this alumni pool, which was mentored by the faculties of this college in FMS predominantly, right? See it from that perspective. Say it from that perspective. And the next point that you can make about, you can also say that these faculties are actually working closely with the governments. These faculties are actually working closely with the the top-notch corporates in India and abroad as a part of consultants, right? So these guys have been extensively working on the research reports, research papers. They're trying to solve the actual government issues. They're trying to solve the actual social issues, the issues faced by the corporates in a real lifetime, right? So these are the faculty. These are the extremely talented pool of faculties will be available. I'll get the access to get mentored and learn from these kind of talented pool of faculty. So this is again a point that you can make a mention about, that why do you want to be part of FMS? Like a lot of people talk about I like this college because of this, I'm in love with this college because of these things. No, you don't have to say that. The college know it's even all the faculties, they know that it's the best college in the country, FMS, right? Now do not do that mistake. A lot of people lot of people fail to connect the college, right? A lot of people fail to connect this college with the corporate world. You need to understand, because ultimately why college has the greatest ranking, because it has been appreciated by the corporate world. Okay, so you need to understand that FMS is also one of those colleges in India which has been able to achieve a great respect by the corporate world in India. And it's not only Indian corporate world, I'm talking about the international, I'm talking about the global corporate world. Okay, I'm talking about the global corporate world. So I want to be a part of this amazing college, and I see myself as a global leader. Now, what do you mean by global leader? Global leader means you think globally and you apply locally. That's called a global leader, which FMS has been able to produce. So guys, this is what you need to understand. You need to talk in the context of the faculties, the alumni, and the corporate world, how corporate world has been looking at FMS. So guys, these are the points that you need to understand. Now when you talk about your career growth, right, or when you talk about why do you want to do an MBA, I will be making some other videos also as far as why MBA is concerned, because these are 5 questions. But remember, if you're writing SOP for FMS, right, you need to understand that you make a mention about the points that I've told. You need to tell them about your own bloody growth story, right? Now when I say your own growth story, what does that mean is that how have you been able to succeed in your life from your school level, or maybe from your higher secondary school, or maybe from your college level till today. So you have to tell them how you by yourself have been growing the ladder up. Now I'll give an example. Okay. Let's say there are 2 kind of people. Okay. Let's say student number 1 who has done his education in the government school. Okay. Then he went to the government college and blah blah blah. Okay. Now then you have another type of a student who has been in, say, convent, or who has been in, like, a top-notch private school and a college and blah blah blah. Okay. Now this guy can say that throughout the education, right, or throughout my graduation, I have always been deprived of the best quality education. Okay, again, I'm not demeaning government schools, right? I'm just making a point out here, so don't get mad at me. I'm just saying that I have been always deprived of the quality education, the education which will give me the maximum exposure, and this is my time wherein I have the greatest opportunity to kind of make it to FMS and get that international or global kind of an education. That's how you can make a point about it. So that shows that even after having like so much of struggle as far as your education is concerned, you haven't kind of loosen up on your dreams and your ambitions, right? You're still fighting for it. And the guy who has always been doing fantastically well, has been to a lot of top-notch private schools and all that stuff, he can say is that I have always been privileged to be a part of the the fantastic schools, and I have always been mentored by the best talented pool of the faculties in my school, in my college. I want to continue this legacy by getting into FMS now. So guys, this is the another perspective when you write your SOPs, right? You are not supposed to write those cliche kind of an SOPs. Now I'm gonna write a last point, by the way, out here. So the last point can be, whenever you talk about this thing, right, you can say that I want to get into FMS because I want to be a part of Dean's vision. Now what's a Dean's vision? Okay, so Dean's vision is basically to position FMS globally. Okay, to position FMS globally by keeping in mind, or by keeping Indian culture, Indian management, and the Indian flavor intact. Okay, so I want to be a part of the future growth story. This point can be connected to a point of local, which I just pointed out. So guys, you got to make these kind of points, right? So when you write your SOP, I know the word limit is around about 150, but guys, don't worry about the word limit. This 150 words, you can make it as smartly as you can. Now, to make this 150 words more meaningful, okay, make sure that you write short sentences, okay? Grammatically, they are all intact. Take care of the punctuations, prepositions and all that stuff, and use some good vocabulary word. So like a lot of time we write lot of lengthy sentences, but one word can summarize that entire sentence. So try to use a good vocab, but make sure that you understand the English usage of that vocab, okay? You don't want to fall on your face by writing something that you have no idea about. So guys, this is a bit of from my side as far as SOP is concerned. Trust me, the SOP lecture I take is round about 2.5 hours. I've done a couple of lectures in Pune for my students out there. So guys, if you need any kind of help, rather for your for your upcoming SOPs for other colleges, you can subscribe to my channel if you haven't, because I will be talking about SOPs for other colleges. I will be uploading videos on career goals of FMS, why FMS in very short time. I will also be talking about GDs and PIs for the B schools, because now the season is going to be on. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do subscribe to it, glue to it, tune to it, so that you can get this kind of an education on YouTube at a free of cost. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you write your SOP fantastically well, and I wish you good luck for FMS. Thank you so much.